Hey everybody, Club Pro Guy here, coming to you live from the Learning Center. Today we're going to find out what's in the bag. Brought to you by my friends at Bet Parks. Okay, let's start with the bag itself. You know, after I burst onto the scene with a made cut at the 91 Yucatan Masters, the guys at Lynx reached out to me and offered me this bag at cost plus. It's a garden variety tour staff bag, and it's witnessed a ton of great golf shots over the years. I put this electrical tape over the name back in 2019 after Lynx dropped me because they decided to go all in on signing Laura Davies, and I continue to use it because I can't find another major golf company willing to sponsor me. Okay, let's start with the towel. This is just a flag of Mexico. I have this because it's just kind of a daily reminder of the success I had as a player down on the Mexican Mini Tour. Here's my glove. I use gloves without fingertips. Why do I do that? Because I'm a field player. I believe that all the feel for this game flows through the fingertips. Okay, let's talk bag tags for a second. This one is from the 1990 Oldsmobile Scramble Team On. And this one is from the famous 1991 Oldsmobile Scramble team I was on that made it all the way to the sectional finals. This is my Yucatan National member tag. And then over here, I've got a couple backup scoring devices. This is for me in case anything ever goes wrong with the scoring beads on my belt loop. And then this here is just a Velcro watch that my caddy Ernesto used to wear as kind of a fail-safe in case we got confused on what score I made on a particular hole. Okay, let's talk about some of the tools of the trade, starting with the putter. First, let's talk about this putter cover. This is a custom 3-jack National putter cover. Depicts the property that 3-jack's being built on. Here's Interstate 635 right near the first tee. It's built on the side of an old shopping mall. These are available at clubproguy.com. The putter itself is a Snake Eyes straight eye mallet belly putter. And, I've made a lot of putts with this putter over the years. I know what you're thinking, CPG, that's a belly putter, that's illegal. Well, yes and no. The reality is if you have your shirt nice and loose, you can jam this right into the belly, and let's be honest, nobody's going to call you on it, okay? They don't know. It's a subjective thing. You can deny. So I go ahead and stick this right in my belly, and nobody has an issue with it. I like the extra length on it because it helps me with quick rakes. And over the years, I've made a lot of quick rakes with this putter. Ball retriever is an I Gotcha 2000 with a 9-foot extension. Believe it or not, this is pretty much off the shelf. The only upgrade I did was the orange head. Let's start with the big stick, but first let's take a look at this head cover. This basically pays homage to all the cuts I made on the Mexican Mini Tour, the Yucatan Masters, the Reynosa Shamble, the Matamoros 4-ball, and of course the Tecate Cup. They're all mentioned here, and this is actually available on my website at clubproguy.com. The driver itself needs no introduction. This is the GX7. Most drivers on the market today have a 460cc head, which are what amateurs need because of miss hits, but this driver here is a player's club, meaning the head is much smaller. I think this is 267 cc's, and not only can I pound it, but it's got workability. I can move it left to right or left to left almost on command. When I drive it well, I typically play well, and with the GX7, it's bombs away. Okay, next up is my 3-wood, which is protected by a head cover from the now defunct Thursday Night Men's League, which I won back in 2020 in that epic final match against Stan Perry. The 3-wood itself is the 14-degree Orlamar Tri-Metal Strong with a Pro Series graphite Uniflex shaft with minimal torque. This club gives me a ton of versatility. I can use it as a fairway finder off the tee, or I can launch it off the deck, which allows me to get to some of the longer par 4s here at the club in 2. I have to be a little bit careful because this club has a shallow face and I'm a high ball hitter, so I tend to pop this up a lot, but when I do nut one, look out. If the Orlamar Tri-Metal is the Thunder, then this is the Lightning. This is the perfect club, and it lives up to its name. I've had this in the bag since the 90s, and I can't get rid of it mainly because of its versatility. I hit this off the tee at least once every round, and I also use it to putt on our 2 temporary greens here at the club, and really pretty much everything in between. There's not many clubs on the market where you can say that. So between the GX7, the Orlamar, and the Perfect Club, I've got every distance covered between, say, 180 yards on the low end, all the way up to 255, 260 on the high end. Let's take a look at the irons. I play Lynx Black Cat irons for the simple reason that I'm a ball striker. I've tried Nikon, I've tried Strata, I've tried Nike, but I keep coming back to the Black Cats because they give me feel, and more importantly, they give me consistency. These have the True Temper dynamic gold shafts with the Lynx gold flare stabilization system, which is big in the rare case of a mishit. I had them put a regular flex in all the even irons and a stiff flex in all the odds because I feel like it tightens my distance dispersion. You know, I can hit my 6 iron with a regular flex 162 and my 7 iron with a stiff flex 159, which is a 3-yard differential between clubs. Now, why is that important? Because it allows me to get into tighter windows and tuck pins that a lot of other net players just can't get to. Each iron is protected with a Castle Bay Superflex iron cover, which is a premium rubberized plastic that not only protects, but it also won't fall off from bouncing around while you're driving your cart. I went forest green here, but they're available in a ton of colors. Okay, let's talk about wedges. Wedges are what we professionals like to call our scoring clubs. What do we mean by that? These are the clubs that get you close to the pin so you can 2-putt. For my money, this is an area of your gear setup where you just have to get it right. Wedges are all about loft spacing, and for me, I go 26 degree, 60 degree, then 64, and then finally 68 degrees. Let's start with the XE747, which is really a punch-out club, but I put this in the wedge category because it can be used so much around the green. The loft on this is 26 degrees, so it's like a 6 or 7 iron, but it's the camel toe technology that makes this club so unique. Up against the collar, in front of a grass clump, this club has ridiculous versatility. And by the way, you can get one of these at clubproguy.com. Next up is the Momentous Swing Trainer, which is actually just a super heavy club in the form of a wedge. I have debilitating chipping yips, and this club is so heavy, it just helps me to time my flinch just before impact. Then we have the Alien 2 Pro Series 1 wedge, which I swear by and wouldn't use anything else to hit out of bunkers. And finally, this is the Dave Pell's 64 degree wedge, which I got in the Lost and Found and had it bent to 68 degrees. This is a great club for when you're 12 to 23 yards out and really want to hit something full. Okay, rounding out the iron category, and I won't spend a lot of time on these, but I carry a Ram Advisory 5 iron because for some reason I can just nut this thing. A US Kids Golf 7 iron and a Medicus. Now let's take a look and see what's inside the golf bag. Okay, let's start with golf balls, and I play Molitors and I play Top Flight Strata Tour 90s, full stop. Both give me length off the tee and a ton of feel around the greens, and I'm not about to pay $50 for a goddamn dozen golf balls. But some of you might be saying, CPG, why are these not marked? I don't mark my golf balls with a Sharpie for the simple reason that when I hit a provisional, I need maximum flexibility, if you know what I mean. Oh, and before anybody asks, I don't carry a rangefinder. I prefer to constantly ask everybody in my group what my yardage is. It's easier and it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Okay, next up I've got sunscreen, got to protect the skin, and lotion for dry, cracked hands. I get real bad in the wintertime. Okay, ball markers are a big deal to me, and I use these on-point ball markers, which are really cool. They're 3-dimensional, and when you mark your ball, you go ahead and use this line on the marker for your intended line of putt. I found If I do this 2 or 3 times while everybody else is putting, I can get my ball 4, maybe even 5 inches closer to the hole. I also carry these custom stamped and painted Yucatan National and 3-Jack National markers, which are really cool. Both the on-point markers and these custom painted markers are available on my website. Let's see what else is in here. Underwear. A couple years ago during Thursday Night Men's League, I shit my pants. Bad. Like real bad. And had to play the final 3 holes in without underwear or pants for that matter. So ever since then, I keep a backup pair of briefs in my bag. So this is cool. I didn't realize I still had these in there. Back when I played on the Mexican Mini Tour, we used to have 3, maybe even 4 groups stacked up on a given tee. So I put these in there for me and Ernesto to look at to pass the time. Now, I remember I always used to give Ernie the Playboy and I would take the Penthouse. I'm not sure why, but I just always seemed to gravitate to this one. Here's a little booklet I used to use to make notes during big tournament rounds, a la Matthew Fitzpatrick, just a way to remind myself of things. March 1st, 1994. Quit going right, you always go fucking right. June 1st, 1995. You're such a fucking hack. Get a real job because you can't make a cut to save your dick. So just a book with little affirmations in it to help improve. Okay, here's a training aid I use called the Plane Mate. Shout out to David Woods at the Vintage Club out in California who sent this to me. I don't know how it works, but it's got a ton of straps and bands and shit, and if I get more time, I want to see if I can get this thing dialed in. More underwear. Oh yeah, this is a PGA Tour trading card of J. Don Blake with his signature on it. You know, I keep it in here for good luck. A lot of people have said, hey, why don't you sell that on eBay? But I'm not going to do that, not unless I'm really hurting for money. Okay, here's a blast from the past, my old metronome. I used to use this during my pre-shot routine to keep in rhythm. You know, especially on the greens. You know, early in the round, it would sound something like this. And then later in the round, especially if I was playing better or near the cut, Ernesto would crank it up. About here, get me to speed up. You know, I'll never forget during my 8-hole par streak on that very last tee ball. Had it up to about right here. Okay, we're getting really deep now. Cigars. Here's a copy of the book I wrote last year, Club Pro Guy's Other Black Book. Last couple of things. Oh yeah. Here's a golf ball floating in water I got as a gift from a little girl at a golf camp. So stupid. What am I supposed to do with that? Oh, and finally, you know, when you're a really good player, sometimes you get invited to nice clubs, and I sweat a lot, so I put a button up in my golf bag just in case I get invited for drinks or dinner afterwards. So I like to keep this in there.